This is the shore on 88.4 and the waves keep crushing in. Tonight with an interview with the young fathers who were recently in town supporting Massive Attack, but are really a great band. Enjoy. On the song Sirens, there's talk about police violence. Is the song like a postcard to Edinburgh, or did you write like Berliner hymn like Bloc Party and David Bowie?
It's actually more than anywhere. It's about America. It was about watching the news and seeing what was going on in Ferguson at the time. But I mean, it's been happening in America for years. I mean, it happens across the world. But yeah, the song was mainly about just watching the TV and basically looking like the police officers had a bad cocaine addiction. That's what it looked like. So we thought we'd write a song about it. Imagining if police officers took cocaine, what would they do? And it looks like they would do the exact same thing they were doing in Ferguson. So.
Do you have stuff like that happening in Edinburgh?
I would say Edinburgh's a much quieter place than places in America where that police brutality is happening. But I do think that police brutality happens all over. When we were younger, I could tell you stories when I was younger where the police were unfair and seemed to be wasting their time on young people just being bullies, and I'm sure the boys could tell you even more stories when they were younger. I mean, their stories would be different from mine because obviously I'm white and they're black, so growing up black in a predominantly white place in Scotland, their stories would be more unfair and just bullying, just real bullies. Especially when we were younger. When we were younger, it felt like bullying. So.
Did you ever get in like classic activism as well, or did you just restrict it to music? Or just like going demonstrating, or?
We've been on marches. We've been to anti-fascist marches. But I mean, a lot of the time when I go to the marches, there's a need for it. There's a need for the marches, but I do get annoyed at the aggression that kind of pents up in some of the marches. I feel like sometimes you're just aggravating, but you do need to march. And mostly the marches that we've been, especially the anti-fascist marches in Scotland or in London or whatever, they're mostly peaceful. But there is violent members who feel like the violence is needed because the violence is threatening them. But you're not really gonna get anywhere with that. For in my point of view, you're not really gonna get anywhere further forward by being more violent than the violent people. It's just an eye for an eye. It's not gonna work out. So. Yeah, no, we go to marches when we can and stand there and chant and sing stuff, but mostly we're quite peaceful at the protest. I don't like to be too aggressive. So sometimes you can shoot yourself in the foot by being too aggressive or violent. Or there's times when that's needed because people need to take notice, but. I suppose it's just out of frustration. I think now probably they're getting more violent because people see that you can protest, till you turn blue, but nothing ever changes really. So that's why the frustration happens, and that's why the violence happens. I can understand it, but I'm always of the ilk that violence doesn't really get anybody anywhere. So.
Yeah, that's part of that. You should rather see it on the positive side, no? One more question about Berlin here. Did you get to see. For how long did you stay then here?
We stayed here for just under a month, and then I couldn't take it anymore, so I left.
What? Well, you didn't like it?
No, it's not that I didn't like it. No, it's just worked too hard. I wanted to be home, so I went home.
Well, so no partying hard in Berlin?
Not me, no. You better ask the other two. I don't know what those guys got up to. I left, and they stayed for a bit longer, so they might have got up to something there. I don't know about it. I don't know.
Did they go party? I was gonna ask you about the hip hop clubs here, like the dance club. No, at all.
I don't know what they go up to. Part of me doesn't want to know what they go up to. If they even go up to anything, they could have been wee angels. I don't know.
Okay, grand. And did you? Do you know any? Like, do you have a German favorite artist? It's like in recording artist.
No, it's not off the top of my head. I can't.
Okay.
I mean, or German artist, did you say, or just his favourite artist anywhere, or German?
Well, then, if you don't have a German exclusive, then an artist.
Oh, well, I mean, there's loads of German artists that I like. I mean, Kraftwerk have always been one of my points of invention. If you want to go look at artists who invented something out of nothing, then I think Kraftwerk are pretty much a staple of. Generally, I think they invented modern pop music, so I think they're always a good reference to go back to if you want to hear how the ethos and trying to invent something completely new. And yeah, so I would say them. And Can German? Are they German? Can?
Yeah.
Can, yeah, I like Can. All the krautrock stuff I think I've always enjoyed, so yeah.
Okay, and I saw an interview with you and you said there, if you keep calling us pop, yeah, and that the media made a lot of fuss about you being political and about the album title. So did you meet anybody and say, dude, like, hey, guy from Oasis, why don't you write a political tune?
No, because we didn't consider ourselves a political band.
Okay.
And we would never push it upon other artists to do whatever they want to do. I think for us the political part just comes out of trying to be writing about things
just
that we think are
writing.
fair. Just be decent people, and if you see injustice, like you're talking about Sirens earlier, I mean that's just a song that you can say it's political, and that's how people are gonna. And we're not dumb enough to think that people aren't going to call it political, but for us, we're not being political for being political's sake. It's we're talking about unjust things that are happening in front of everybody on the TV or whatever, and that's it. Or we are talking about things from each other's backgrounds that we can reference into the song or whatever, or sometimes we just want to make pop songs. And why we've always been wary of being called a political group. We realise that we're going to be called it and we can't do anything about it. It's just the way it is. But we've always been wary of it is because, as I was saying earlier, similar to like being violent at a protest, you can shoot yourself in the foot by, if you come out the gate saying we're a political band, you immediately cut off the people that you probably want to change or have some kind of effect on, and you end up just preaching to your own choir. So for us, it's like, if you start coming out and telling everybody you're a political band, you're immediately cut off from certain sections of the industry, which I think we've probably suffered from anyway, but we try and not make it too hard on ourselves. So when you get to a point of influence and you get to these places that don't want you to be political, then you can say something important and you can use it for your benefit. But if you didn't get the invite in the first place because people already regard you as something, then it's just, you're just pissing in the wind. You're not doing anything. I mean, you're not changing anything.
Studioansage.de. The waves keep crushing in. Here we go.
Attempting to change anything.
Well, did you get that from a lot of record companies before you start putting them out yourself? Like, No?
I mean, we really were unheard of when we came out. It was only a couple of record companies that got in touch with us. One of them being Anticon in America, but no, it's not. It's no. I wouldn't say it's record companies are the problem. It's more the radio stations and the press that cut off people who outwardly political straight from the bat, so you didn't even get a look in. Or they worry about you coming on and doing something controversial or whatever. They're worried about you from the start. So for us, it's important to try and get a balance where you say something either in the music or in the song or whatever you're wearing or however you say it, but you get the chance to say it on a spectrum that's going to be seen by a lot of people. That's either going to, and some people hate it and some people love it, but at least you done it, you know what I mean?
88.4, your radio without censorship. I have to admit it's public, but we play the hottest shit. Yeah. And now back to the interview. I heard you guys write instant poetry anyhow when you write the beats mostly, or
Yeah, I mean music, yeah.
that the guys then coming then and then they just write together.
Yeah, so I'll write something, they'll write something, and sometimes I'll let whatever I've written, I'll let someone else sing it, and they'll want me to sing it, so we write for each other as well as ourselves.
Now you got really lovely lyrics. They sound really poetic. What was your first machine? Like your...
The thing I used there was a karaoke machine.
Ah!
Yeah, just a mic and a cassette and a karaoke machine, and I used to make these beats on a computer that was ancient at the time, could barely do it, and I used to plug it into the back of the aux cable, and then I used to run the karaoke machine, and we used to hang the mic from the cupboard, and we used to just jump around in the cupboard, just pushing each other out the way to do our bits.
Sound, who introduced you into that? Like, was that your dad, or did you just like DIY?
No, just probably just pure wanting to get out of wherever I was, whether it be physically or just mentally. So for me anyway, it was just like expressing yourself and being able to do music and stuff like that was just something that was completely alien to me growing up where I grew up. So when I encountered it, it made sense to me. Maybe because my father listened to a lot of soul and reggae and always played music in the car and stuff like that. Maybe that helped influence my taste, you know what I mean, from a young age, into why the sound has evolved into what it is now. But at the time, all it was this is completely new to me, and this is like away from everything that I grew up around, you know what I mean.
Reality TV gone insane.
I went to college in Edinburgh after I left school. I went to college to study music production for about 3 weeks, and I left because it was shit. So the way they teach it in college is just, I couldn't get my head around it. I didn't want to be like, I didn't want to make music, be told how to have music, because it's about taste. And if you can't really teach taste. You can teach taste. There's ways to do it, but they weren't doing that. So I have a kind of issue with the whole college taught music production and stuff, because it ends up just churning out a bunch of people who do the same thing. Sometimes you get people with their own mind, but a lot of the time you get people who are stylised into thinking that you can't use this kind of equipment, or this is technically wrong, so you don't do that. And I only could bear about 3 weeks there, and then I walked out.
So guys, see, you can still get famous without going to school. It's like
But go to school, always go to school, and always learn to read and stuff. Don't be daft. I mean, go to school, but have taste. Have your own taste, have your own mind, but still learn. Read books and stuff like that.
I tell you something. 10 years ago, I tried to study fine art in Edinburgh. picturesque city, but it has its dodgy parts as well. For example, the movie Trainspotting was filmed and placed in Edinburgh Telford. But that area has also really, really bright light, like the rest of Scotland, on the shore, because the sea is maybe the mirror for the sky, and it's really, really bright. And yeah, it's really nice. This is the shore on 88.4, and the waves keep crushing in. This is the shore on 88.4, and the waves keep crushing in.